Hi there, and welcome back to Riella's Army of Dolls, where I talk all things fashion doll. And the newest doll in my collection is one from JHD Mizi in China. She is the Grace, Princess of Monaco, my lovely puppy from the most recent JHD convention. As part of the JHD VIP Club this year, we were able to order dolls from the convention through our dealer. The first doll released at the convention was actually a VIP Club doll. That was the Gloria Champs-Élysées gift set. Now, this doll was free for anyone in the VIP Club to order. She came with one doll and two fashions. I really liked one of those fashions, but to be honest, not enough to overcome the fact that I didn't like the other and that she was on the Fashion Model 2.0 body. That to me gives her a bit of an odd elongated look to the legs. There were also 3 studio dolls revealed, all of whom came on the Katiegirl 1.0 body. There was a paler skin doll using the anime sculpt and 2 darker skin dolls, a Callie Woodson and a Gloria. Gloria I thought was beautiful, but at the price point and considering I already have a couple of Glorias, I decided I didn't need her. Both of the 2 final and most impressive dolls of the convention came with the Grace face. The first one is, of course, Princess of Monaco, my lovely puppy, who I have ordered. I really thought she was the prettiest. The second one was black bow tie. She really has a great gown and one that I think a lot of people found really beautiful, but I just felt she didn't come with very much other than that. So again, for the price point, I was able to pass her up. Now, I'll be honest, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with Mizi and JHD. First of all, I want to love them. I mean, they are new dolls who are actively competing against Integrity Toys and trying to produce dolls of the same standard. So they have great posability, they have fantastic accessories and details, and they have beautiful fashions and hair. So what's not to love? Well, to be honest, the faces just don't quite do it for me the same way that Integrity Toys do, especially the painting style. I just find to be a little bit cartoonish. And when it comes to the bodies, there have been a few variations, but generally I find myself not quite loving them. The proportions are a little bit off. And some of them, although more beautiful, we have ones like the Stone Beauty body, which was a little bit controversial. Some people loved it. I'm sort of in the middle. I actually think that one looks more beautiful on the shelf than the standard one, but it lacks the posability. I have liked them more since the introduction of the Katiegirl body with its curvaceous figure and the less elongated legs. And that is the body that this new one has. She is the second release of the Grace Princess of Monaco, and I was a little bit dubious about the first one, I have to be honest. I looked at the photo and it's something about the sort of harsh lines, the jaw lines. I didn't love her. And this release, I actually, when she came out, I saw people commenting on the forums, or is she any different, or is she exactly the same? And yeah, there are a lot of similarities. The colouring and the sculpt look quite similar, but there are differences to everything. The eyes are a darker shade, the hair is also a darker shade, similar style, but not exactly the same. And maybe it was just the promo photos, but I thought she looked softer. I thought she had a sweeter face compared with the first one. That drew me in. And I mean, come on, she came with a puppy. Who doesn't love a doll that comes with a puppy? She also has a long princess length gown. And if you know me, you know I love long gowns. So this doll really ticks a lot of boxes for me. She was also a little bit cheaper, and so I thought, why not? I will see if I love this Grace and see if she does it for me like just a couple of the Mizi dolls do. So let's get her opened up and see what she's like on the inside. So we've got the standard brown shipper, which has the label and title of the doll on it. Inside, quite a nice, really heavy feeling box. On the video, you can't see the feel of the box, only the shape, and this one is a really heavy-duty, solid box. It doesn't have a window in it, which I think is kind of a pity because it actually feels like a really good display box, but of course you can't display her in here. We've got that it is Katiegirl and it is the Princess of Monaco sculpt. Stiff to pull the top off, but it gets in there, and I guess here is where we can display her from because, again, it's You can probably see from the reflection that there is a plastic front to this. So actually, I take it back. That is a really nice display piece. Solid box, and yeah, she's tied in, easy to see, and we've got that plastic cover to protect her. Taking that off, we can see her a little better because I don't have the reflection, and there we've got the face. Now, can perhaps compare that with what I saw in the promos, but I am not seeing the sort of hard lines that I was worried about with this doll. Actually, it is a very soft face. Quite a neat pointy chin, and the hairstyle is really cute. Look at that little curl there. That is adorable. She's also got her puppy right there in her arms. I love that it is, there ready to display with her, and we can see the long peach gown. I'm going to take her out. As with all these dolls, there are just strings, but they are a little bit knotted, so it is kind of a slower process than some to get them out. Plastic hooks to snip, that is not my thing, especially with a gown that is so easy to snip through as this one. I think there'll be a lot of little holes people get in this dress. Her feet just slipped right out of the bow at the bottom, and she is perhaps the first of the JHD dolls I've received who didn't come with her knees bent. I think that is good. I found it really odd when those dolls were packaged with bent knees. Really doesn't serve much of a purpose. I really like her dress. It's long, it's peach colored, it's puffy, but it's got quite a bit of shape to it. It doesn't feel, like she's just dressed in a bag. I like the bow on it. The only thing I would say is that I know she's got the Katiegirl body underneath, and it doesn't really, show it off. If we look at her face, she's a very pale color. The hair is a very pale yellow, and altogether I'm sort of tossing up between whether I think she looks just a tiny bit washed out or whether it's a really beautiful combo. I think she's sort of on a tightrope line. I do really like the bright blue eyes, as I think that gives a bit of depth to this. And I do have to say that she sort of achieves not looking the cartoony style that I kind of was complaining about with JHD Mizi dolls. I feel like she actually looks quite realistic, quite human, and I think that they've done a good job with that. The puppy was also tied to the box. This is the first time I've seen things actually attached into the box with Mizi dolls. It did disappoint me a little bit, and it did mean there were a few things to cut and a little bit more damage possible. It's a cute puppy, but it does feel more like a stuffed toy than a pet. I like the proportion though. It fits with the doll really well. In the accessory tray, there aren't a lot of items. I feel like the whole concept of the accessory tray is more like to compete with Integrity Toys than really to be necessary. We've got the hands. I know last time I talked about a Katiegirl doll, I commented on the bizarre hands. They haven't changed those. This hand is really weird. I will not be using it on her, and JHD, please change the Katiegirl hands. There is no point receiving something that's not useful. The shoes are quite sweet, little peach coloured with a mesh overlay, so they really fit with the style of the dress. They look like they're probably the same fabrics. They've got high pointy heels. They're not incredible, but I like them. They say Mizi on the bottom, so you can't lose them. And then we've got the jewellery. The thing about this doll, as with the other Princess of Monaco, is that I think the jewellery really is identical. I think that is a pity. Maybe this is what Princess Grace always wore and they've modelled it after that. But I feel like we could have some variation. People who did buy both of these dolls, are going to have double ups. It's a pretty necklace, but it isn't outstanding. So I've got her fully dressed and accessorized, and honestly, I do think she is a beautiful doll. The color scheme runs throughout the whole thing, even I hadn't noticed, but to the ribbon of her little puppy, and I think that is adorable. I love that her lip color matches her gown and that collar and the dress. She stands up really solidly and straight, and she looks very well proportioned. I like the flaring of the gown. The layers have sort of caught up a little bit, but they are very pretty. Now that she's all accessorized, though, the thing that really stands out to me is that she honestly is a little bit thin on accessories. She came with nothing but her outfit, the puppy, and her jewelry. And that just feels like very, very little for a doll that is, although cheaper than some, still in the collector price range. And not only that, but everything is pretty basic. The shoes are cute, but they're basic. The earrings are nothing but little pearls. The necklace is a double pearl line. And the puppy, as I said before, it is cute, but it looks like a toy rather than a faux pet. I really feel like she should have had a purse or at least a bracelet, maybe a ring to go with this, just to make the whole outfit pop and to make it feel like more of a full package rather than just a doll. And when I talk about the jewelry that she actually has, it is quite simple. It looks pretty on, but I have to say I was very worried getting those earrings in. And I think that for a lot of people who don't have so much experience with it, it may prove too unnerving. There was a hole, but actually I initially thought that there wasn't a hole at all. There was a tiny mark, and I put pressure on and pressure on until the earrings went in, but I genuinely thought that I was going to have to pierce those holes. I didn't, though. The back of her head shows her very intricate hairstyle, and that is one of the things that I like best about this doll. It reminds me more of Jean Marshall than of, like a Barbie and some others. It is quite beautiful. It's a very hard hairstyle, taking off the wig net. You wouldn't want to brush this hairstyle. It is what it is, but it looks really nice. So now let's see how she looks underneath her clothing. Taking off her clothing reveals that new Katiegirl body with its curvy look. And I know that I'm not the only one who thinks that this body is an improvement. It has been really popular, and I think a great call from JHD Mizi company to introduce this, especially because it's something that sets them apart from a company like Integrity Toys. It's new, it's unique. You can see how much curvier it is. She has a significantly larger bust and larger hips than many other dolls. She still looks a little bit tall when I look at her, but I don't feel like it is as over the top, quite as exaggerated. But to be honest, I still feel like it's something that could be reduced. Personally, I do really love the Poppy Parker body because it is shorter. The legs don't look as elongated. It has more realistic proportions. So here is the Princess of Monaco alongside a Susie who has the fashion model body as opposed to the Katiegirl body. And you can really see those differences standing out. So I've got their feet at more or less the same point. In fact, Susie's are perhaps just slightly lower. And we can see moving up that the legs of the fashion model are just slightly longer. And we can see the different shape around the hips. The waist is very similar, but the hips are much larger. The bust is much larger and more femininely shaped. And then the shoulders sit a little bit higher because that height overall is just a tad more. And in fact, if I lift up her feet just a tiny bit so that they are even, we can see that we're getting nearly a centimetre more on that fashion model body, which is almost completely in the legs. So even though the legs don't look a lot shorter, we can see that they have moved them to that slightly more proportionate length. The neck and upper shoulders look very similar. I'm guessing that the heads could be switched if I wanted to. This Susie, I will be looking for a more proportionate body again for her, so possibly a Dynamite Girl's body or a Poppy Parker body. I'm considering other options as I'd like her to look more proportionate alongside Susie's that have smaller bodies. Similar differences if we look at the two dolls from the back. Obviously what really stands out is Katiegirl's significantly larger buttocks, but that also means that her waist goes in a lot more. She looks like she has a very hourglass proportion from the back. You can also see that her upper thighs are quite a bit wider. That makes them, again, look a little bit more proportionate with that buttock so that she doesn't look like she just has a big bum. She's, you know, a more voluptuously figured person overall. My lovely puppy comes with a certificate of authenticity showing that she's a limited edition of 300. Mine's number 259. To be honest, I don't know if this means that she will ever increase in value. I have found, at least so far, that very few JHD dolls are increasing in value, but I guess we will see. This Princess of Monaco is genuinely a really beautiful doll, and although I don't think she has quite solved my entire love-hate relationship with JHD, I do think that she comes pretty close. I think that her face doesn't have that cartooniness that I sometimes, you know, struggle with in the JHD dolls. Her price point is more manageable. And I think her full package is really pretty overall. It just works together really nicely. In addition, she doesn't have those ridiculously elongated legs that the fashion model has. However, I still have some misgivings about the Katiegirl body. It is nice and I love that it is quite unique, but it still has proportions that don't quite work for me. I think the legs could still be shortened, and maybe that voluptuousness is a little bit too much. But it is pretty, and as I say, it is different. I do wish this Princess of Monaco came with a few more accessories. The puppy is adorable, but it isn't quite enough to overcome the lack of other accessories. For now, she will be staying, I think she's going to display beautiful with the East 59th dolls and other similar period style costumes. And I look forward to seeing what else JHD comes out with, and especially what changes they make. They still are only 6 years old, so I think that they have a long way to go, and the improvements that they've made in that time are pretty incredible. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then please make sure to hit that button, as I have lots more fantastic dolls that I'll be discovering.